This is the Memos from the Mongolds. Dear ones who pray, this verse jumped out at me this morning when Glen and I were reading through the book of Colossians. For by him were all things created that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, that in all things he might have the preeminence. Colossians 1:16 and 18. The COVID-19 has been referred to as our invisible enemy, but our awesome Savior will have the preeminence. We find ourselves praying multiple times a day for our supporters and our seafarers. Hearing from both stirs us to expect our loving shepherd to use this current situation for his glory and preeminence. The men pictured at the left in this picture are from the Philippines, the captain and crew members sitting with Glen. The seafarers are contacting us through a couple of different avenues. Just the other day, a longtime friend, an Indian chief engineer, phoned us. Incidentally, calls from seafarers most often show up as potential spam calls on our phones. Of course, we answer them, half the time hearing about our expired car warranty. Both of our vehicles are 20 and 21 years old, so those annoying spam calls just remind us to thank the Lord that both vehicles are still chugging along, serving their purpose. But back to the chief engineer. He was actually in port and wanted to check on Glen. No one was allowed off the ship, and no one was allowed on the ship. It was clear the virus had put a strain on everyone. When it came time to have the ship bunkered, the fellow doing the work tried to board the ship. The chief engineer refused to allow him on the vessel due to what else he might give them, namely the coronavirus. From the description of their conversation, it sounded understandably so, as if both sides were frustrated with the other. Texting and Facebook Messenger are other ways that seafarers are keeping in contact. Pray that Glen will have the wisdom in his responses. How different it is to be ministering in this way. It seems that our missions field and us are locked up, but that doesn't lock up the preeminent one. It's as if each man, regardless of his actual words, is saying, "Sir, we would see Jesus." Lord, help us to be a good signpost. Colossians 4:2-3 also gave us customized words to pray this morning. Continue in prayer and watch in the same with thanksgiving. Withal, praying also for us that God would open unto us a door of utterance to speak the mystery of Christ. The door is still uniquely open. We've been in the field since 1983, and we stand with the rest of the world experience the first of a different way of doing things. Thank you much for your prayers. All the above photos were taken right before we were shut down, so we were able to have fellowship. We have pictures of Brother Devin with Filipino sailors, and Brother Mitch Marion, who speaks fluent Russian, conversing with a young Ukrainian officer, and Devin, who is also in the United States Navy, talking to a Latvian chief officer. So far, we are well and healthy. Glen's family in Massachusetts hasn't fared as well, but thankfully is recovering from this virus, including his mom's 82-year-old sister. With health and extra time, Glen is playing catch-up with some much-needed house repairs on our 90-year-old home, while I pray for his safety and think of more things for him to do. Glen has never been able to sit still for long, so I have personally been grateful the Lord has given him a very legitimate way to utilize his time. Besides, he immensely enjoys working with his hands. We are praying much for you, dear friends. We would love to hear how you are doing. And as we have already told others, the Lord will meet our needs. Our whole lives have been a miraculous testimony to that. As we, of course, know has been true for all our dear supporters. If you are now unable to give, the Lord has this all figured out. Our hearts and prayers go out to all those who have hit on hard times. Surely we can anticipate many wonderful stories of God's loving care to come out of this time in history. With our love, gratefulness, and prayers, Glen and Marcy Mongold and family. Thank you.